Hey everyone, it's Chris here from Social How To Media. In this video, I'm just going to do a quick explanation on email marketing and some of the top programs that we recommend. So firstly, I'll just explain a little bit about what these tools are for and why they're really handy for businesses. So what these email marketing programs allow you to do is you can either input a database or input people manually, or you can collect people from your website or from social media through what's called an opt-in form. So just for an example, as you can see in the right hand sidebar of my website, we just have somewhere where people can put in their email in exchange to get access to some information. Now you probably see these all over the place, and the reason for that is because it's important as a business basically to collect people's data, because you may know yourself, you've probably visited hundreds if not thousands of websites in your lifetime, but there's only a select few that you really sort of go back to, and that may be sort of banking or social media sites or news, that sort of thing. But other than that, if you visit a website, you either get what you want and sort of leave, or you don't find what you're looking for at the time and you leave, and you never come back for one reason or another. You either can't find the place again, or you forget the website's URL, whatever it may be. So because of that, you really want to have an opt-in form on your website, so if someone comes to your website, you have the opportunity or the chance to collect their details before they leave. That way you can keep up to date with them through like a monthly email, or just by sharing tips and helpful comments. And that way, say in 12 months, if they're looking for your services again, or they've now changed their mind and they want to go ahead with something, you've sort of been keeping in touch with them, you've been sharing helpful tips with them over the last 12 months, so you're going to be front of mind, as opposed to someone who hasn't actually sent them any information or any help. So that's why it's really good to have a collection method in place on your website. And then secondly, you can use these software platforms to automate emails in your business. So for example, if you were maybe an IT company, you could put in your customers' information as you service their computer or whatever, and it might send them an automated email 2 days later, just checking in to see how everything's going, make sure there's no problems with whatever you've fixed. And then you can maybe schedule an email to automatically go 5 days later than that, asking them to give you a referral on Google Plus or Facebook, or like your page or whatever, share with friends. And then after that, you could possibly have a month later, let them know about common things that slow down a computer and that kind of thing. And just by helping people out and sending them tips and tricks and in your field, you're sort of going to gain trust with them, and they're likely to come back to you. And also, if you sort of word the emails appropriately, say for example, going back to the IT analogy, you could send out an email saying how that computers get quite slow if they didn't have enough memory or RAM. You can show them how to check that, and then if they find, oh, I don't have enough memory, they could get in touch with you to find out how to get more, how to get it installed, all that sort of thing. So you give them sort of part of the puzzle that sort of requires them to come back to you to move things forward. So it can be a great way to drum up business, and it's all automatic. So you can write all the emails once down for one day, and then you've got 12 months worth of contact with your clients, automated sort of forever, really. So that's I just find automated emails is really important in business, and it's important to notice if you're building a database, that also is an asset for your business as well. So if you ever do decide to sell at a later date, having that database there is a sellable asset. So moving forward, the two software programs we recommend for beginners is aWeber and another called SendPepper. Now, we typically recommend aWeber for customers that aren't as tech-based or not as proficient sort of in their IT skills, because it's very simple to use, straightforward, basically click your way through and Very simple, basically. And some of the other good features that people like is it already has a good base of email templates and opt-in form templates. So you can design some really nice graphically designed looking forms and emails with very little work. We primarily, though, for our clients would actually use SendPepper. We find it's much more powerful. It's just got many more features. It's got more powerful rules, and it's got more of a sort of database engine behind it. But it is a bit harder to sort of set up and put in place. So this is why we sort of more recommend this towards our more tech savvy clients, or this is what we'd put in place if we were actually setting it up on their behalf. Some of the one of the great, I guess, key differences between this one and aWeber is SendPepper, and this is sort of one of the very few that will allow you to do this. Will allow you to import a database like an Excel spreadsheet, for example, of first name, last name, email address, that sort of thing, which is very handy. So if you do a show or a seminar, an event, and you collect lots of details, it's handy to be able to instantly import them into your database and get some contact and emails out to those people. Whereas with aWeber, while you can import databases, it as part of its sort of spam policy, it will actually send out an email to those people and say, hey, do you want to be added to this list? And we usually find that a lot of people will just sort of ignore that email and they won't sort of add themselves to your database. So using SendPepper in conjunction with events and that sort of thing means you get to touch base with a lot more of your database and keep a lot of your entries, whereas you may lose them in the other method. Another great thing about SendPepper is it's actually the little brother or little sister product of a big mainstream product called Entreport. Now this one is very expensive, but it does basically have all the bells and whistles and all the shopping cart automation, and it's basically one of the top products out there. And it's good to know that if you start off with SendPepper and you do sort of, your business does grow bigger and larger, and over time you may find yourself sort of outgrowing the capabilities of this, it's going to be very easy for you to just merge across to Entreport, or because it's all within the same sort of company, and they'll sort of do it all for you. Whereas if you sort of started with something like aWeber or one of the other sort of cheaper providers, you could find that after a while you outgrow their capabilities, and then it becomes a very messy process upgrading to a bigger sort of service. But for an entry-level service, we stick with SendPepper and aWeber. And then obviously, if we're working with the big boys, we jump onto something like Entreport. Now I'm going to provide you links to all of these services below if you want to check out and find out more about them. But to sum things up, both aWeber and SendPepper are fairly cheap. I believe they range between the $20 to $30 a month mark for the entry-level product, which will probably suit most businesses if you don't have a very large database. And aWeber is much more sort of simple, easy to use, much more graphically friendly, whereas SendPepper can be a bit technical. But I want to stress that both providers do have plenty of support videos and tutorials and sort of classes you can almost run through to teach yourself how to use the software. So it's not like once you sign up, you're sort of left to work it out on your own. Now, one last thing before I sort of leave you with it. While I did bring up the fact that aWeber sort of supplied lots of pretty HTML email templates, it's important to note that if you sort of go and sign up to any sort of really big internet marketers list, you're going to find that most of their emails come out just as simple plain text, and that's because a few reasons. They find it gets past junk filters a bit easier. Also, they can load a lot better on multiple devices, so sometimes if you get a graphical template If you open it on a particular device, maybe the pictures won't load, so the email will look quite messy. And also they just find that the conversion rate's a bit higher with those plain simple text emails. So just wanted to let you know about that, because while the email templates can sometimes seem like a good idea and look nice and pretty to you, it may not be the same experience for your customers. If you have any further questions about either of these services, please don't hesitate to ask below. Otherwise, I do have other training videos available for these services if you search through our blog or our YouTube channel. Thanks for that, and have a great day.